So we spoke to Vincent from On Film Only and Street Candy. When did we speak to him? A couple of weeks after they announced that Street Candy is, well, maybe on hiatus, certainly, maybe.
Hopefully on hiatus. I'm sure it will be back soon enough.
Yeah, but we had a chat with him about what Street Candy, how it all started, and so we got a bit of a history of it, and just a general chat about photography and stuff as well. It was really nice to get to know a bit about him. I would say there is a little bit of an audio. We had a few audio issues on this episode, so there is a little bit of noise underneath, but we tried our best to fix it. But there it is there, so I tidied it up as much as possible. But there you go.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
But he's a super interesting guy to talk to. Very intelligent, clearly very passionate about anything he puts his mind towards, which is one of the reasons we believe Street Candy was such a success. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen times that we went through, it was put on hiatus, wasn't it?
Do you know what the best thing about Street Candy was? Almost. One of the best things about it was the packaging.
I was going to say the packaging, but I thought you were going to say something a little bit deeper than that.
No. I mean, the fact that it's like all recycled, so he'd use old film canisters. It was film that already existed that was being repurposed. And then for the second wave of packaging, it was all cardboard packaging. And that's like one of my favorite things about it. The fact that it's like really cool looking, super grainy, interesting film obviously helped, but it was but in this episode we do have it's not really an exclusive, but we do have we discussed the next wave of designs that he was going to be launching for the next wave of Street Candy, which obviously didn't happen. So he sent us those designs, which we've got to put up on the screen during the interview, so you can see what might have been.
A little sneak peek into what could have been, but hopefully
really nice. Yeah. But there we go. But anyway,
go follow him on Instagram as well, because he's still keeping us up to date with what he's doing.
He's still posting Street Candy images, and because there's still loads of rolls out there for sale. Well, a few, and it's not expensive. It's worth getting your hands on some before you probably never will be able to again.
Yeah, but for now, enjoy the rest of the episode. Keep tuned with Front as well. Front is coming very soon. We're working harder than ever. We're closer than ever to launching. I know we've said that 1,000 times, but make sure you're following us on Instagram. Check out our videos on YouTube. Listen to our podcast. And if you haven't already, register to our mailing list. There will be a link down below. And we'll keep you up to date with what's going on. And it's coming soon enough. Soon enough. Enjoy the episode. Drum roll, please.
It might be worth mentioning Luke's got a sore throat at the moment, and if he's not quiet enough anyway, or if I'm not loud enough anyway, should I say, then yeah, he's definitely not going to be talking too much.
Yeah, I completely lost my voice yesterday, so
fun times.
Hot whiskey or something.
Usually
does the trick.
Yeah. But yeah, Vincent, thank for your time. Thank you so much. Vincent is the man behind Street Candy Film. Luke, I'm going to actually ask you the question first, because it's only because you mentioned this first. But what did you say when you first discovered Street Candy?
Oh, so it was called ATM, Street Candy ATM, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if it came from ATM machines? And then when I saw Paul from Analog Wonderland talking about it, and he's saying it came from ATM machines. Okay, that's really weird, and obviously it makes sense then that it's called ATM. But yeah, I suppose it'd be interesting to know, I'm sure you've talked about this before, but how it kind of got started, and how you found out that you could use this film for camera film.
Well, it all came up. It was basically a lucky encounter. I was in the right place, met the right people at the right time, so I was really lucky with Street Candy. I was in the beginning. You guys may know me from On Film Only when I started the blog. I always had in the back of my mind, but I was fairly new in the film photography scene, but I'm back on my mind. I was thinking, okay, maybe one day I will do my own film, but it was never really something I was working, into it or actively looking. But eventually, I was in the Paris photo fair, Salon de la Photo in Paris, and I met some guys, from the analog scene. And one of the guys I met was Lomig from Film Worship. You guys may know the Worship film that are quoted on paper. So this guy is like the MacGyver of the film photography. He has like a container full of equipment that he's been gathering, and he's pulling his own film. And basically, I met this guy, and he told me, okay, maybe I have a film that I may not sell myself, but would you be interested, to give it a try? He sent me a few test rolls, and I instantly loved the look. I developed the first roll myself, but there was not much information about the film because at the time we not even knew if it was still made. Stock that was a bit old, maybe not too old, but was a bit aging in his storage. And he said, okay, let's give it a try and give it a life. But in the beginning, I just started this with a small batch, and it was about 500 or 600 film for the first batch.
Wow.
And I never
quite a large batch, right?
It was. But basically, he told me I have a bit of stock. I said, okay, I'm going to buy it all and try to sell it. And I never thought I would sell so many rolls so quickly. I was quite shocked myself, by that. But eventually it picked up, and we figured out that we could get fresh stock from this film. So then I kind of really invested into it because, okay, maybe there is a nice film that it would be pity to let it go to waste, and it would also help to maintain the production line of the company, who's running the film. So we figure out, okay, let's give it a try and make this seriously, and really invest into it. And about the ATM, I picked this name because when I met the guy Lomig, he told me, okay, this film, the original Street Candy, when I started selling it, the original batch was coated on a really thin film base, I don't know if you guys ever saw it before, but it was really, really thin. You feel like it's going to break in the camera, but it's actually quite sturdy. But it's made coated on this really thin film base. The simple reason behind is because it was loaded into ATM machines before, so they needed a maximum of pictures, to load the maximum of film into a tiny space. So they would coat it on a really thin emulsion, and basically they would double the amount of film that they would compare to a standard film roll. So that's how the first batch came out, And for the story, I thought in the beginning that the ATM machine were taking a picture of all the people that were withdrawing money, which is like the case today. But before, no, it was. I think it was too expensive to do that, maybe. And the only time the ATM would trigger the camera, it was when someone was trying to force the machine, or to beat into it. When someone was angry at the machine, or. So that's when people would have the picture taken, And I had no idea before that all the ATM machine were shooting pictures on film. I thought it was something that came up with digital camera, but no, it was actually quite older than that. So that's how the name came out, And I thought, it could be a funny story, behind the film. Of course, it was used in other surveillance system, but the most used apparently for this specific film was the ATM cameras.
Well, that's awesome. Like to know that, you it kind of fell into your lap almost, I guess. Do you know what I mean? And then
basically, it was given to my hands, and I was like, okay, let's do it now, And well, it was really a great adventure, to admit. I never thought it would last so long, But the end it was a bit abrupt, I have to say. I was not expecting because we had difficulties to solve the film since a while. It was a bit difficult. So at problem manufacturing, there was a lot of demand for the film, basically, and that was my biggest problem. Was the production was not to sell the film because I was selling the film before I was actually having it in my hands. We had a lot of pre-orders and. We had a great distributor in the US, so there was really a high demand for the film in the US.
Is that where it started? Was that where it was first distributed in the US?
Yes, because in the beginning I was working with a friend who had from Camera. You may have heard from him. He used to have a small online store, so I used to work with him. We distributed mostly in the US in the beginning for the first batch. Then it was a bit tricky because I was always traveling, so I was moving the company, I was basically loading the rolls and the boxes in my car, and we would do the rolls on the road with my wife, and shipping from different places. So we did from Spain, from Portugal, then back to France. So it was like a mobile company. Really
At least rolls of film are small, right? So you can fill up the car.
Exactly.
You can pack it out. Yeah.
That's really
so
cool.
it was quite funny. And then eventually we settled down, and I did the proper distribution, and in the UK we had an amazing support with Paul and the team at Analog Wonderland. They really helped us out a lot to help with to make us famous, let's say.
It's straight. Like, we've always supported Analog Wonderland, as have they to us as well. And I think what they do for the film community is really incredible. I mean, they helped us out with what we're building here at Front as well. And it's not only is it a great place to go and buy your film there, in terms of their diverse kind of range of film stocks and camera equipment that they stock, but they really do help. They support every single company and brand that's out there at every level. It's not just like it's just the big names, or they just promote that. They support everyone, which is really great to see. And not only that, not just with film stocks and equipment, but photographers themselves, right? And like we said earlier, when me and Luke saw Street Candy for the first time, in fact I think you might have seen it earlier than me, Luke. I think the first time I saw it was one of our Front ambassadors. There's a girl called Madison Beach, and I'm pretty sure she made a video on it.
I think so. I remember that now that you mentioned the name.
And I saw it, and like obviously I love Madison, but then I was like, yep, I need to buy that film, and I think I literally went to Analog Wonderland and bought 3 rolls straight away.
Did you buy it when it was with the new packaging already, or it was still the old?
I had one of the old pack. I think it was literally during the transition, because I'm trying to work out if I've still got it. I'm pretty sure I haven't got it anymore. I think
because those are collector. I only have one myself.
Yeah. No, there you go. I should have kept it and sold it. One lucky fan.
That was the first thing that really struck me as well, when it came in that cardboard box. And then when I unreeled it, unloaded it to develop it, and pulled the film apart, pulled the roll apart, I was like, oh, it was in like an Ektachrome canister. And
Oh, you got an Ektachrome? I felt like, honestly, when I got the film, like obviously I've shot probably 15 rolls of Street Candy.
Really? Wow.
I don't know, maybe 10, 15 rolls, but I felt like they were Pokemon cards. I felt like, like you had to work out what roll of film you were getting, like what it was recycled on. But I think all I got was like, I think I got quite a bit of Cinestill, but I never got an Ektachrome.
The first one I got was Ektachrome.
There you go. That's like a Charizard shiny.
But it was cool. It really struck me that it was like, it's a really interesting thing to do. Like there's kind of zero waste almost. Like you're using cardboard and you're using old film canisters and you're using film that's already like ready to be repurposed for this. So it was just like, it was such an interesting like thing to pick up and start using. And and it's such a shame that it's whatever happened.
No more for now. We'll say for now, hopefully.
For now, let's see.
So what year did it start then? What year did it first get released?
2018, if I'm correct. I remember correctly, starting in January 2018.
So I'm guessing that So I'm guessing like COVID took a massive part in the kind of potential future of Street Candy.
Well, basically it was quite interesting, because when I released the new packaging, with the cardboard packaging, it was during the first confinement, the first wave of COVID. And honestly, at this time, most of the companies were struggling. It was hard for everyone, but for us, because they did that at the same time. So of course we had delays in the production of the packaging and everything, but managed to pull my part of the game, and it was quite a good year for us, I have to admit, because the demand and the response with the new packaging was just amazing. I never expected, that people would receive it so well. It was really a gamble on myself, but I just couldn't stand to see so many boxes of plastic going through my hands. I said, okay, no, this has to come to an end. There was a solution. And in the beginning, it was really good. I mean, the COVID didn't hurt us at all. But eventually, this year, at the end of last year, 2021, it started to be difficult, with the sourcing of the product, the increase of the shipping, because the packaging was already a bit more expensive than plastic boxes, but the shipping also increased tremendously. It was like basically we were buying the boxes and we were paying the same price just for shipping, so it was getting ridiculous. And at this point, I realized, okay, now it's going to be complicated. And eventually, we had a problem with our supplier manufacturing the film. So that was also another issue. Okay. And at last, they rose the price a bit, which was already bad for us. But we said, okay, it was still manageable, I just had to raise the price a little to remain profitable. But the last email we got was just last sword in the back, and it was like, okay, guys, we're going to triple the price overnight, just of the film. I say, okay, let's call it a day now. And not going to insist anymore. And well, the move of the companies was pretty clear, because I'm not the only one repurposing the film. The company behind the film we are using is Orwo. So all the companies that were re-spooling the film from Orwo probably going to have to stop, maybe except for Lomography, I would say. They probably have a good deal with them, but smaller companies like ourselves, we couldn't handle it anymore. And it's
really respectful that you kind of did that, because I remember reading, your post not too long ago when you announced that Street Candy will unfortunately be no more for now. But saying that, when I read it, I was like, you decided not to double or triple the price of the roll of film. And, fair enough, there might be a niche market of people that would still have supported you, as and where they could, and they would have paid whatever you would have had to sell the roll for.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you've got to realise as well, or what people may not realise is that, if you have to double or triple the price of a product, the next time you order a new batch, it's going to go up even more, because the order that you were before was so much less than the order before that. And every time you order less and less and less, the price for you goes up and up and up. So every time you would have released it, it would have gone up. And people don't always realize that. So it's awesome that, fair enough, you could have got another batch and maybe sold a few, but you weren't in it for the money, right? You were in it for the love of the product, and you wanted to be respectful to the film community.
Yeah, especially I don't want to give money to a company that's basically just tripling the film without no reason. There was no production cost involved. It was just a decision they took on, okay, we're going to cut those people from repurposing our film, which is, I understand. I knew that at some point the party would be over. But eventually, I would say, like you said, maybe some people would have still buy it, but it was too expensive for me to put the money up front, and to. Not sure I would sell those films, and I already rose the price to my suppliers, and you cannot keep raising the price indefinitely. When you see what's going on with Kodak and everything, I don't think it's good for the film industry, to keep raising the prices, because it's going to just, most of the people are going to give up. So, in the end of the day, it's going to be more expensive because there's less demand to produce and so on. So, I think the whole film industry and all the film photographers are going to suffer because at the end of the day we end up just for a roll of film is going to cost us maybe 30 pounds or 30 euro just for to shoot 36 pictures. So it's becoming really complicated for most of the people, and I don't feel comfortable taking so much money just for a few pictures. I don't think it's fair. And
there's a difference as well, isn't there? Because if you buy a roll of film, there's a fine line, isn't there? Because fair enough, a bit like the cost of living, things go up, right? So you would expect maybe a small increase. That's life, that's life. But when there's a lot of film out there that took a huge step up, right? And it just makes you think. And again, I don't claim to be an expert in the the business side of the companies, but for me, surely you would rather take a slight hit per roll of film on the profit side and have more people shooting film, because it felt like in the last couple of years there was this huge boom in film photographers, right? myself included, I've got back into photography in the last 6-7 years, but it's only really been in the last kind of, say, 3 or 4 years that I've deep dived into film stocks more. I've got the bug, so to speak, yeah. And that's what the film companies should be supporting. They should, want to get you to have their product in their hands, not just for these premium users or whatever it might be. And it's a shame that it's gone like that. And I'm sure there's reasons behind it, but for me, it puts you off, right? And you don't want to be put off. The companies don't want you to be put off. They want you to be buying that film.
Of course, yeah. I'm sure, Kodak, when they do they take this kind of decision, it's not they know it's not in their best interest, but it's true that there are so many factors to consider, and people don't always realize, when they just buy a roll of film, what's involved, in making this film come out, because there's so much components, of film, from the canister, from the film base to all the chemicals and the packaging, and all the prices everywhere have been keep rising, and at some point, it just they are forced to do that. But it's going to hurt the film photography badly, I'm afraid, because it's also getting more. You see also the price of camera that is rising like crazy. If you see the second-hand market on cameras, I remember when maybe I shouldn't say that, but when I bought my X-Pan, for example, like 4 years ago, basically I was turning 30, and I said, okay, I'm going to give myself this present for my 30th, and I got myself an X-Pan, but it was at the time I bought it actually from an English seller. It was about €1,000. When I see the price of X-Pan nowadays, I'm like, okay, this is going to pay me a car. So
I've been looking at buying one, and it's £4,500 now. Yeah. With one lens, and I think there's one other lens you can buy, like a 35mm, that's about £2,000.
2,000 if you're lucky. The 30mm. It's like the holy grail of the X-Pan lens. This one, it's like super wide.
Yeah,
and then we watched the new Rainy Days video, didn't we? And then that put us off.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, his new video. He's talking about the Fuji TX1, which is basically
the same thing.
And he's saying that it's there's less and less around. Yeah. So obviously the price is going up, and it will eventually break. And it's like getting hold of spare parts is so difficult that when it breaks, it might just be that's the end of your camera.
An expensive paperweight.
Very expensive paperweight. But at the same time, I support like the collection of cameras and stuff like that, because fair enough, there's a lot of cameras out there that are just way too hyped. Shoot me, no matter if it's digital or film, whatever, they are way overhyped for what it really. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't want to be spending thousands of pounds on cameras. They were never designed to be that. Again, fair enough, inflation pushes the price up and stuff, but some things now are just, I couldn't even consider it. I'm not in a position where I can afford a £5,000 camera. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you think, right, if I buy it, it's going to be worth £8,000 in 3 years' time. So
maybe, it's like buying stocks in the
you feel like you've got to invest in it and then make your money back. But really, like the artists in us, right, the photographers in us, don't really want to be doing that. We just want to try the camera out, try some film, take some photos. But if you look at it like a business, like you're investing in a piece of equipment that you're going to flip in a few years' time to make money, that's why they've all gone up, right? I was going to say, I wanted to talk a little bit about the kind of support that you've got from the kind of, film community, if you like, especially since you announced when Street Candy was going to be no longer. I'm sure you were blown away by the support that you received.
Completely blown away. Honestly, when I announced this, I literally spent 3 days in tears, because it was really hard for me to let go, but also to receive so much love and support from everyone around the world, and so many kind messages and gestures everywhere. It was heartwarming at the same time, and heartbreaking too, because I felt like, I was really letting something that it shouldn't be ending like that, and it was not fair, to end things like that. Honestly, it was really amazing to see so much support and people supporting us, because they realize that, okay, we are maybe a small company, but maybe next time it's going to be a bigger one, and all all the cards are falling after another, you know, and people are really, really stood behind us, you know, and then, like, when I also announced like we only had a bit of stock left, you know, and everything was gone in an hour, you know, I was really shocked, you know, like all the stock I had left, you know, it was gone in 1 hour, basically 1 hour and a half after the announcement, you know. So the days after, it took me took me some effort, you know, to go through those last orders, you know, and pack them after another.
Yeah. But it's
really
weird as well, right? Because it kind of came out of nowhere, and I remember we were talking, you know, before you kind of made the announcement. And I don't know if you've made this. We might have to cut this bit out, and I don't know. I'm going to ask if we can show it, but you were doing some new designs, right? For like
yes, I was.
the new batch, yeah. I don't know if you've shown anyone those designs yet. I don't know if that's kind of like
no one saw anything. No.
Yeah.
Well, I would like, because I've been working on this for the past few months. It's been really hard also, because the batch I was about to order when the supplier announced the price increase. I was about to order the new packaging. I was basically about to order 6,000 boxes, 3,000 for each of my films.
Yeah.
And I'd done a complete rebranding. It's been a real headache, you know, to do that, because I was doing everything myself. So clearly, you know, I've been learning everything, you know, from, you know, running a company to design to everything. But for this time, I had the help of a graphic designer, because I had something in mind and something coherent, you know, between the two designs. So I want something, branding that makes sense, and also to refresh the logo. So you'll have the exclusivity to show the really
awesome.
the
Hopefully it comes up right and we're doing it justice. Yeah. Because I remember you sent it me, and I didn't want to show it. I haven't showed anyone. I just you know, I'd love to show it, just because I feel like, you know, Street Candy was all for the right reasons. Yeah, it was all for the film community. It was all from the enjoyment of being a photographer, right? It was never a business where you set out to make millions of pounds. It was through the love of the community that the business kind of grew, right? And you took it day by day, and it slowly grew, and then unfortunately it's come to an end. But I mean, you know, me and Luke were saying earlier, like, I don't know what your next kind of chapter is, if you like, but it's exciting. You know, you should be excited for it. I mean, whatever you do, you'll be welcomed with open arms if you're working somewhere, or with, you know, within the industry still, or whether you've got a new project in mind. I don't know what it is.
It's been difficult past weeks, let's say, you know, for me, because I need to readjust to a new lifestyle. Because like my baby is gone, so basically my house is empty now, you know. So I had plenty of time on my hands, but I need to put money on the food on the table. So I found myself a new job. I started 2-3 weeks ago.
Nice.
Nothing to do with film photography or photography in general. Just, you know, like switching back to the old me before being a blogger, film photographer. But I need to settle down now, because I have a family, and I need to support my family decently. You know, I don't want to have that stress on top of my head, because it's been mentally exhausting, you know, to not knowing where you're going, or, you know, the visibility, you know, on my finance on maybe 2-3 months max, you know, and I was always, you know, running after another batch and so on. So it was really draining mentally, but I still have a few projects in my mind. I haven't taken down the website yet, because maybe I will bring back something eventually. I have a few ideas.
I did see that, because you're still doing the Instagram as well, right? You're still sharing the photos that you get in. I've actually got a roll of undeveloped Street Candy, but there's a huge part of me that doesn't want to develop it for 10 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to sit on it, and I know that's not, you know, like necessarily the right attitude with being the freshest kind of film to develop. But then there's a part of me that just goes, one day I'll come across
when the time is right. It's nice. It's
exactly.
nice idea too. Yeah.
I'm sure, and you know, every time you post something on Instagram now, I'm like, I thought the last post was the last one, or I thought the last time I saw. But it's nice that it's nice that you're still showing these little snippets. Good.
It's just to show I'm still here. I still enjoy looking at pictures, you know, because it was really my pleasure, you know, to see the pictures with what people could create with the film I was making. You know, it was really, the reward for me was more than the money I was making. You know, anything. It was really to help people create new things. You know, and also it was also a way to give back to the film community, because I received so much when I was starting with the on film only, with my blog and my YouTube videos as well. So it was really a way for me to give back and to keep film alive, because at the same time, you know, you need people like that and like you guys, what you're doing, you know, to keep people interesting and to help and to learn about it, to educate too, because it's such a beautiful thing. But yeah, at the same time, it's becoming more and more complicated to be a film photographer, unfortunately. Even though we had great hope for a while, now it's true with that COVID and everything we are seeing. You can see that people will have to choose, and the priorities will come first before pleasure, like shooting film video.
Yeah. Is it the same deal for, you mentioned the other film, the MTN 100?
Yeah.
Is that the same supplier and it's all the same?
Same supply, yeah. So that film was already more expensive, but I wanted to expand the range of film. And to be honest with you, like I was saying to Paul at some point, I was a bit tired to shoot always the same film for years, you know. So I wanted a new film for myself.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, it was really a selfish decision, you know, to bring that to the film out. But it's come from the same supplier, fortunately.
I suppose it's hard to ever think about buying anyone else's film when you've got a ready supply of your own stuff just there. No, that's really cool.
Exactly.
That's great.
Plus, I used to have a lot of film that wouldn't pass the quality check, you know, if the canister has small bumps or something, you know. I wouldn't sell those ones. I would keep them for myself. So I still have a small stock, you know, from a small batch kept. I'm keeping, safe for now. But it's true. I haven't been.
Don't waste it.
For the great, like yourself, for great occasions, I will take out the camera. It's true. I haven't picked up the camera lately. I haven't been photographing much, but hopefully I get back to it at some point.
Yeah, you will. The urge will be there for you to pick it up.
Yeah.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because like, talking about like the price of film, going back to that, you know, I shoot a roll of film now like it's 120 almost. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that I've paid a premium for the product, where, you know, like you used to always have a couple of rolls of film lying around. And don't get me wrong, I've got film in the fridge kind of ready to go, but I'm so scarce to use it, if you know what I mean. Like I do, it slowed me down the way I take photos, and I've always kind of had this like perception of like digital, I'm happy to fire away, trigger away. 35mm, I'm kind of the same, you know, it's capturing moments. I've always carried a small point and shoot around with me, and then, you know, if I, you know, the rare occasions that I shoot a bit of medium format, I really take my time. But now I'm doing the same with 35mm. I'm slowing down, and which is good, but at the same time, you know, I kind of just want to take photos sometimes. You know what I mean? I want to go out and walk around and shoot a roll of film in a day, just because I'm bored, or, you know, it's a nice day. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes, like, I get this feeling like, oh, should I be doing that, or should I slow down? And really, you know, I just want to go out and shoot. And I'm sure 99% of other people feel the same.
I feel like shooting like large format, you know, like
God, don't even dare eBay any of those cameras.
Exactly.
I was about to at some point, and my wife just said no, because it's not like with the tripod, with everything. I said no.
Where's it gonna go? We haven't got the space for it.
No, my closet. I used to have my the closet in my kids' room. You know, half was full of gear, so, you know, like cameras and stuff. So hopefully I've made some space since then. But at some point
they don't need clothes. They're all right.
Well, it's only 2 years old. Yes,
Well, awesome. Thank you for your time, Vincent. I think that feels like a good place to kind of stop it. But if you're up for it, we'd love to touch base with you, you know, 6 months down the line, a year down the line, whatever it might be. You know, reconnect, find out what you're doing, find out, you know, let's have a catch up. Do you know what I mean? General catch up of what you're doing, and we can talk about.
That's good.
I feel like we've spoken a lot about street candy, because that's kind of what we wanted this kind of episode to be about.
Of course.
But we would love to talk to you about your own kind of photography, and, you know, what you like shooting, what inspires you, so on and so forth. But I said to Luke, you know, we could make a whole episode out of that. So if you were up for it, we'd love to reconnect a bit further down the road.
Yeah, one of the days, for sure, guys. Let's see. Hopefully I'll be back with new projects. We never.
Well, by the time you have a new project, hopefully we'll have the website launched. It's been great to speak to you, but it's it's such a shame that what has happened, but at the same time, it's so respectful to see that how you've done it, rather than pushing it or trying to force more money, or you've done it for the right reasons. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully that everyone will understand that. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure they do. I mean, the support we've seen is unbelievable. So
it was honestly, it was like I said before, it was really touching, to see so many words. But at the same time, it was a great way to end.
But you've made history, right? Regardless, the self pride that you must have for doing it, regardless, how many film stocks are left or how many years it was going, you will always look back and remember, that was mine.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.